Chapter 6: Meditation and Action. The Supreme Personality spoke, one who works without attachment to the results, fulfilling obligations, is a true mystic in the renounced order of life. It is not about abstaining from duties or avoiding responsibilities. In this chapter, the Lord explains that the Eightfold System aims to control the mind and senses. However, it is challenging, especially in the age of Kali. While the Eightfold Yoga system is discussed, the Lord highlights that acting in Krishna consciousness, known as Karma Yoga, is superior. People generally work to sustain their families, but everyone has some form of self-interest or personal gratification, whether concentrated or extended. The key is to act in Krishna consciousness without seeking personal gains. This is the duty of every living entity, as they are inherently parts of the Supreme. In the analogy of the body, the parts work for the satisfaction of the whole body, not for self-satisfaction. Similarly, a living entity who acts for the satisfaction of the Supreme Whole, not for personal gain, is the perfect sannyasi and yogi. Sometimes, sannyasis may mistakenly believe they are liberated from material duties and stop performing rituals. However, their goal may still be self-interested, aspiring to merge with the impersonal Brahmin. Similarly, a mystic practicing yoga with half-open eyes may desire personal satisfaction. In contrast, a person in Krishna consciousness works for the satisfaction of the whole without self-interest. Such a person has no desire for self-satisfaction, their success is measured by Krishna's satisfaction. A Krishna-conscious person, the perfect sannyasi, prays for the causeless mercy of the Lord's devotional service across lifetimes, without desires for wealth, relationships, or followers. The idea of renunciation and its association with yoga, emphasizing the importance of letting go of desires for personal pleasure. It suggests that true renunciation involves recognizing one's role as part of the Supreme and acting accordingly. When individuals are spiritually aware and practice Krishna consciousness, they exist in their natural state. The passage further explains that Krishna consciousness entails relinquishing material sense gratification and selfish activities. Unlike traditional yogis who control their senses, a Krishna-conscious person engages their senses solely for pleasing Krishna. The ultimate goal is alignment with the Supreme, leading to self-realization and a spiritually fulfilling life. Introducing the concept of a ladder representing various yoga stages, such as Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga, the ladder begins with the Yoga Rurukshu stage and reaches Yoga Rudha, the pinnacle of realization. The passage suggests that Krishna consciousness serves as a shortcut to this ladder, naturally incorporating knowledge and sense control. Emphasizing the mind's significance in yoga practice, the text highlights the need to train the mind to overcome material desires and attachments. It suggests that consistent engagement in Krishna consciousness aids in achieving mental control and liberation from material entanglements. In summary, the verbiage underscores the transformative power of Krishna consciousness in liberating individuals from material pursuits, fostering spiritual growth, and facilitating liberation. It states that for someone who has mastered their mind, it becomes their best friend, while for those who haven't, the mind can be their greatest enemy. The goal of practicing Eightfold Yoga is to make the mind a friend in fulfilling our human mission. The passage emphasizes that unless the mind is controlled, the practice of yoga is a waste of time. It discusses the idea that the mind, when unconquered, forces us to serve desires like lust, anger, and illusion. However, when the mind is conquered, one can align with the dictation of the Supreme, leading to tranquility and a sense of equality in facing life's dualities. It mentions that true knowledge involves realizing the transcendental nature of the Supreme, and book knowledge alone is useless without this realization. The text further describes the characteristics of an advanced person who views all, whether well-wishers or enemies, with an equal mind. It highlights the importance of engaging the body, mind, and self in a relationship with the Supreme and maintaining control over desires. In the context of Kar consciousness, the passage explains that being always engaged in the loving service of the Lord is the essence of transcendence. It suggests that even those focused on the impersonal Brahmin or the localized supersoul are indirectly Kar conscious. The ultimate recommendation is to keep the mind on Kar and practice seclusion, rejecting material possessions and unnecessary desires. Finally, the passage encourages the chanting of the holy name of the Lord as the best means of spiritual realization in the present age, especially when meditation may be challenging due to the anxieties and disturbances of modern life. Sit with your body straight, focusing on the tip of your nose. Keep a calm mind, free from fear and distractions, and meditate on me within your heart. The goal is to know Ka, present in everyone's heart as Paramtam, the four-handed Vayu form. The purpose of yoga is to discover and see this form of Vayu. If you're not striving for this, your yoga practice is a waste of time. Ka is the ultimate life goal, and the Vayu form within your heart is the aim of yoga. To realize this, abstain from sex. Don't fool yourself with fake yoga. Leaving home to live secluded is the real deal. Follow celibacy rules, abstaining from sex in thought, word, and deed. This discipline starts in childhood, preparing one for true yoga. Engaging in Ka consciousness naturally reduces sexual attraction. Fearlessness comes from being fully Ka conscious, overcoming perverted memories. Only Ka consciousness offers perfect practice, as the ultimate goal is to see the Lord within. Yoga isn't for material gains, but to end material existence. Eating in moderation, avoiding animal products, and offering food to Ka are crucial. A Ka-conscious person, following these principles, is best suited for yoga practice. Excessive sleep and overindulgence hinder progress, while a balanced approach in Ka consciousness is the key to effective yoga. Regulating habits in eating, sleeping, work, and recreation through the yoga system can alleviate material pains. For eating, accept sanctified food, prasdam are like grains, vegetables, fruits, and milk, offered to Lord Ka. In Ka consciousness, minimize sleep and avoid unnecessary indulgence. Keep alert and engage in Ka's service. Work is only for Ka's interest, untainted by personal desires, ensuring a regulated and purposeful life. A Ka-conscious person doesn't engage in leisure for sense gratification. By disciplining mental activities and becoming desire-free, one establishes themselves in yoga. The yogi ceases material desires, especially the chief one, sex. A Ka-conscious devotee achieves perfection through disciplined engagement in various activities related to Ka. This transcendental state is practical and achievable through constant remembrance of Lord Ka's lotus feet. Such devotion is called arcana, a perfect process for transcendental achievement. A Ka-conscious person, absorbed in transcendence, stays steady in meditation like a lamp in a windless place. In perfect trance, the mind is restrained from material activities, allowing one to relish boundless transcendental happiness. Such a person remains unshaken, even in difficulties. The real purpose of yoga is often misunderstood. Patanjali's system acknowledges transcendental pleasure, unlike monists fearing it would challenge oneness. Liberation isn't the destruction of the soul's eternal position. Spiritual life, free from material infection, involves realizing transcendental pleasure or sati sakti. This pleasure is the real life of the living entity. Ma with Macron Ya with Macron, or illusion, occurs when spiritual life is contaminated by material influence. Liberation isn't destruction but the removal of contamination. Sit Sakti, or transcendental pleasure, is real life, as confirmed in Vedanta and attainable through Bhakti Yoga. In yoga, there are two types of samdhi. The yogi transcends all mundane happiness in Samprajna Samdhi, achieved through philosophical research, distancing from mundane pleasures. The yoga process involving sense pleasures contradicts its purpose. Yogis practicing for byproducts or engaging in sense indulgence miss the real goal. Ka consciousness, devoid of such contradictions, brings genuine happiness. A Ka-conscious person doesn't aspire for other pleasures and faces life's challenges with resilience, achieving perfection in practice. Engage in yoga with unwavering determination and faith, steering clear of material desires spawned by mental speculation. The yoga practitioner should persistently and patiently follow the path, confident of ultimate success. Success is guaranteed for the resolute practitioner. Rupa Goswami emphasizes the importance of executing bhakti yoga with wholehearted enthusiasm, perseverance, and determination while engaging in activities of goodness. Illustrating determination, emulate the sparrow that, against all odds, attempted to dry up the ocean to retrieve her eggs. Similarly, the practice of Ka consciousness may seem challenging, but with determined adherence to principles, divine assistance is certain. Gradually, through intelligence and conviction, see sense activities, reaching the state of pratira, where the mind is controlled through conviction, meditation, and withdrawal from the senses. In trance or samdhi, the mind, no longer entangled in material conceptions, focuses solely on the Supreme Self, devoid of material desires. Directly practicing car consciousness facilitates the attainment of this state. Direct the wandering mind back to self-control whenever it falters. The self-realized yogi controls the mind, ensuring it doesn't dominate him. Serving car with purified senses brings them under full control and marks the highest perfection of yoga. A yogi, whose mind is fixed on the Supreme, attains transcendental happiness, rising above the mode of passion, realizing qualitative identity with the Supreme, and freeing himself from reactions to past deeds. The state of Brahma Bta, free from material contamination and immersed in the Lord's service, is achieved through constant engagement in yoga practice, leading to the pinnacle of perfect happiness in transcendental loving service to the Lord. Self-realization entails understanding one's constitutional position in relation to the Supreme, recognizing the individual soul as part and parcel of the Supreme, meant to render transcendental service. This divine connection is called Brahmasaspara. A genuine yogi perceives me in all beings and recognizes every being within me. The self-realized individual witnesses me, the Supreme Lord, present everywhere. The car-conscious yogi is the consummate seer, observing car, the Supreme, residing in every heart as the Supersoul, Paramtam. The Lord, in his Paramtam manifestation, dwells within both the heart of a dog and that of a Brahma. The perfected yogi understands that the Lord, eternally transcendental, remains unaffected by his presence in a dog or a Brahma. This showcases the supreme neutrality of the Lord. While the individual soul also resides in the individual heart, it is not present in all hearts, distinguishing it from the Supersoul. Only one actively engaged in the practice of yoga can perceive this distinction clearly. A car-conscious person discerns car in the hearts of both believers and non-believers. In the realm of material energy, the living entity serves the material senses, while in spiritual energy, the entity serves the Supreme Lord directly. In both instances, the living entity is a servant of God. This vision of equality is perfected in a person in car consciousness. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. A person in car consciousness perceives Lord Car everywhere and sees everything within car. Despite appearing to observe separate manifestations of material nature, the devotee is conscious that everything is a manifestation of Kar's energy. Car consciousness is the development of love for Car, transcending material liberation. At the pinnacle of car consciousness, the devotee becomes one with Car, where Car becomes everything for the devotee, and the devotee becomes full in loving Car. This intimate relationship ensures that the living entity can never be annihilated, and the personality of Godhead is never out of sight for the devotee. Unlike spiritual annihilation, merging in Car entails spiritual fulfillment. In the state of perfect car consciousness, the yogi, practicing meditation on the Supersoul, envisions the plenary portion of Car as Vayu. It is essential to understand that Vayu is not distinct from Car, as Car, in the form of Supersoul, resides in everyone's heart. The countless Supersouls in the hearts of living entities are identical, and there is no difference between a car-conscious person and a perfected yogi engaged in meditation on the Supersoul. A devotee, even while involved in various activities in material existence, remains consistently situated in car consciousness. The highest stage of trance in yoga practice is car consciousness, where understanding that Car is present as Paramtam in every heart makes the yogi faultless. The Vedas confirm the inconceivable potency of the Lord, stating that although the Lord is one, he is present in innumerable hearts simultaneously. This understanding is also supported by the Smartistra, highlighting the omnipresence of Vayu through his inconceivable potency. A true yogi, in perfect wisdom, sees the equality of all beings, acknowledging both their joy and suffering, O Arjuna. The essence of being Krishna-conscious lies in understanding everyone's well-being and adversity through one's personal experiences. Distress arises when one forgets their connection with God, while true happiness comes from recognizing Krishna as the supreme enjoyer, the owner of all lands and planets, and the sincerest friend of all living beings. The ideal yogi comprehends the paramount significance of spreading Krishna consciousness. Recognizing the material miseries faced by those conditioned by the modes of nature, a devoted yogi endeavors to share knowledge of Krishna, as it is the key to happiness. Such a yogi is the best philanthropist, looking after the welfare of all living entities, not envious of others and genuinely concerned for everyone's benefit. Arjuna expresses his reservations about the seemingly impractical and arduous system of yoga presented by Krishna. Given the restless and unsteady nature of the mind, Arjuna finds it challenging to follow such a system, especially in the present age where leaving home for secluded meditation is nearly impossible. Krishna's earlier discourse on the system of mysticism is met with skepticism by Arjuna, who, living in a turbulent era, deems it impractical for ordinary individuals. Arjuna's concerns reflect the challenges of the time, where the struggle for a short-lived life is intense, and self-realization is often neglected. Arjuna compares the mind to a force that is difficult to control, even more challenging than taming the wind. The mind, at times, overpowers intelligence, creating obstacles for individuals engaged in worldly battles. Arjuna emphasizes the difficulty of achieving mental equilibrium toward both friend and enemy, a feat even more challenging than controlling the wind. In response to Arjuna's concerns, Krishna suggests chanting Hare Krishna as the easiest way to control the mind. By fully engaging the mind in Krishna, other distractions are naturally eliminated, leading to a state of humility and deliverance. This simple method, proposed by Lord Caitanya, offers a practical solution for controlling the turbulent mind in the midst of worldly challenges. Lord Sri Krishna explains to Arjuna that while it is undoubtedly challenging to control the restless mind, it can be achieved through suitable practice and detachment. He acknowledges the difficulty expressed by Arjuna in controlling the obstinate mind but suggests that with the right approach, it is possible. In the present age, the strict rules of traditional yoga may not be practical for everyone. However, by engaging in Krishna consciousness, which involves 9 types of devotional service, one can effectively purify the mind. The primary devotional engagement is hearing about Krishna, a powerful method to eliminate doubts and attachments. Detaching the mind from activities not related to the Lord becomes more manageable through this process. Krishna emphasizes that spiritual detachment, or vairagya, is easier to achieve by attaching the mind to Krishna rather than striving for impersonal spiritual detachment. Hearing about Krishna naturally creates attachment to the Supreme Spirit, leading to spiritual satisfaction, similar to a hungry person feeling satisfaction and strength with every morsel of food. For those with unbridled minds, self-realization is a challenging task. However, those who control their minds through appropriate means are assured of success. Krishna states that accepting the proper treatment to detach the mind from material engagement is crucial for self-realization. Engaging the mind in material enjoyment while practicing yoga without mental control is futile. Arjuna seeks clarification on the destiny of a transcendentalist who starts the self-realization process with faith, but later abandons it due to worldly mindedness, failing to attain perfection in mysticism. The paths of knowledge, the Eightfold System, and Bhakti Yoga are described as ways to realize the constitutional position of the living entity, and achieve the highest perfection in Krishna consciousness. Arjuna seeks confirmation from Krishna, especially about the results of deviation from the path of self-realization. This inquiry arises from the understanding that, despite sincere efforts, one may face challenges and potential deviations on the transcendental path. Arjuna expresses concern about a person who starts the path of spiritual progress but gets confused and abandons it. He wonders if such an individual loses both spiritual and material success and becomes like a scattered cloud, having no position anywhere. In simple terms, there are 2 paths in life. Some focus on material achievements like wealth and success, while others seek spiritual growth by giving up material pursuits. Arjuna is worried that someone who starts the spiritual journey but fails might end up with neither material happiness nor spiritual success, just like a cloud that loses its place in the sky. The path of transcendence involves realizing one's spiritual essence and connection with the Supreme Lord. Lord Krishna, the fullest manifestation of the Supreme, is the ultimate goal for those on this path. While reaching this goal through Brahmin and Paramatma realization takes many lifetimes, the direct method of Bhakti Yoga, devotion to Krishna, is considered the quickest. Arjuna turns to Krishna for clarification, stating that only Krishna can dispel his doubts. Krishna, being the perfect knower of past, present, and future, is the ultimate authority. No one, including great sages and philosophers, can equal or surpass Krishna's understanding. Therefore, Krishna's verdict is the final answer to all doubts, as only he and Krishna-conscious devotees truly comprehend the nature of existence. The Supreme Personality of Godhead assures Arjuna that a transcendentalist engaged in auspicious activities is not doomed, neither in this world nor the spiritual realm. The essence is that one who does good is not overcome by evil. In simpler terms, if someone sincerely seeks spiritual growth by giving up material pursuits and takes shelter in the Supreme, they face no loss or degradation. Even if they don't attain perfection, they are not losers. The Bhagavatam says that auspicious Krishna consciousness is never forgotten, and one engaged in it will continue to do so in future lives, even if they are born in less privileged circumstances. There are two types of people, those focused on material pleasures and those following prescribed duties for spiritual growth. Those immersed in sense gratification perpetuate their material existence, leading to misery. On the other hand, those who follow scriptural duties for spiritual happiness progress towards liberation. The path of auspiciousness involves three groups: those seeking material prosperity, those aspiring for liberation, and devotees in Krishna consciousness. Activities aimed at ultimate self-realization or liberation are considered auspicious. Only Krishna consciousness is truly auspicious, and voluntarily enduring discomfort for spiritual progress is the perfect transcendentalist severe austerity. If a yogi fails in their practice, there are two outcomes. One may be born into a family of righteous people or into an affluent family. Birth in a family of transcendentalists is rare but highly praised, as it fosters spiritual wisdom and often leads to becoming spiritual masters. The example of King Bharata illustrates that transcendental endeavors never go in vain. Even if one fails in spiritual progress, they get repeated opportunities for Krishna consciousness. The inquisitive transcendentalist, born in a family of yogis or those with great wisdom, stands above ritualistic principles and is naturally attracted to yoga principles. Ultimately, perfection in Krishna consciousness cleanses one of all contaminations, leading to supreme perfection. The yogi, determined to progress and free from all material impurities, achieves Krishna consciousness and attains the supreme goal. The conclusion is that in all circumstances, being a yogi, linked with the supreme absolute truth, is the best course of action. Bhakti yoga, or devotion to Krishna, is the ultimate perfection of all yogas.